All right, we are live. One moment, we're also going to go live on Instagram here. And then I'll announce the stream and we'll get started. Hey, Unity. Hey, Osiris. Instagram. You going? Well, maybe not Instagram. All right. Instagram, I just gave you the stream key. All right, guys, we're going to give Instagram one more try here. Nothing? Nothing. All right. We're going to get started. And we're not going to be streaming on IG. That's okay. All right. So, let's get this thing cooking. I have never composed zombie music before in my life. This is going to be my very first time composing zombie music. The reason I'm doing it is my friend has a zombie game and he actually needs a main theme to go get funding to finish the game. So I was like, hey, sure, I'll make a theme for you so you can go create this game because I believe in you and I want to see you succeed. So today, join me as I figure out for the very first time, and by the way, I don't even like zombie stuff. I don't like zombie movies. I don't like zombie TV shows. I'm not even a big fan of Halloween, if I'm being perfectly honest. So, here's the thing. I'm going to put all of my preconceived notions to the side and step into creating my very first zombie theme ever. Now, we already have 2 references sent over from the devs, so we're going to actually start by listening through the references and mapping out some ideas of what's going to go on and what's actually going to make a piece of zombie music sound like zombie music. All right, let's get started here. Let me know how the audio is in the chat when I do my screen share here. All right. Tell me if you can hear this okay. All right. Strings, there's some horror stuff. Visors. Scratchy. Let me know in the chat. Can you hear the music? Are you getting some static? All right, I'm just going to restart the screen share. Let's see if that helps. All right. Can you hear that better? That's like one motif. I think that's it. I think it now it's muted. All right, so basically one motivic idea. And then we had some horror swells, some risers, some out of time scratchy stuff. Kind of like imagine someone like scratching on a door. So I'm moderately confident I can crush that. And then okay, I'm gonna bring my ego in check. I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. I'm gonna be able to do that. Now, let's check out this next one.
Maximum. Help.
Oh, very different vibe. Interestingly though, one motif repeating. Minor too, obviously. Yeah, tempo. Something like 90. All right, I want to go back to our other one. Get the tempo. So I like this. It's in 4/4, but it's got this grouping of 3 and 5 to it. Dubba dubby dubba dubba dubby dubba 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 dubby dubby dubba dubba dubby dubba dubba dub. Yeah, so we could just flip that around. And one of the reasons I like it too is because it actually has this off-kilter feeling to it. It's really giving us the feeling of like not settled. There's an unsettled feeling to it. And if we were to think of the tempo, tempo. And I call that 92. All right, so both zombie themes are at about 90 BPM. So we're going to be starting at 90, okay? Minor, straight, but odd groupings. So we're gonna first create, I'm actually gonna use this more as a reference than the other one. I may bring some drums in like the other one did. We might have some hybrid drums and bring in some action strikes. But I'm gonna primarily use this as my reference. I'm going to do, instead of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm gonna just flip that around and see what happens if I do 5, 3. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just do 3 and 5 like this and just change the pattern. And if you're going, but Dan, that's so close. Yeah, I'm trying to do something in a genre I've never done before. So when I say I'm going to stick to the genre, I'm going to stick to the genre. In fact, the first thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to map out how this entire theme builds. And I'm going to copy, beat for beat, how it builds. Not copy the theme, but copy how it builds, the structure. Okay. So let's do this thing. Now, we may need to judge the audio a little bit to make sure that this comes through okay on your end. So give me just like 2 minutes of your time to be patient with me as I sort this audio because we're getting some static on the previous screen share. So I'm going to pull up Logic and I want to show you, I'm going to start from like a replace screen share, entire tab. Okay. Should be able to see my screen now. Yes, you sure can. All right, we're starting. I'm going to start with my orchestra template. One, two. Can you still hear my voice? Type a 2 in the chat if you can still hear my voice. 1, 2. Type a 2 in the chat if you can still hear my voice. Yep. So our backup recording's still going. All right, you can hear me? Great. We just had to restart the backup recording. That is going to be a fun exploration for our editors to sort out. All right, and we're going to get started here. Just a moment here. All right, so we're gonna figure out some type of arpeggio thing like that, some type of arpeggiation situation like that going on. So I'm gonna go in for my string section here. I'm gonna give it a second to load up. Somebody? Anybody? I got no sound. Let's see. We got nothing coming out of this. All right, I'm gonna call this zombie theme. I'm getting nothing. I'm gonna restart Logic Pro. Let's see if that makes everything crash or not. Hey, Anthony Gregory. Thanks for your kind words, Anthony Gregory. Anthony Gregory had nice words to say. Look at all of Anthony Gregory's nice words. If you can read that. Well, you're on your phone. You're holding it closer to your face. Type a 3 in the chat if you're a brave soul who's watching the mobile stream on computer. Hey, Ricardo. Well, while we're here, let's listen to this again. The modulation also. We got sound. You know, you'd think Mac computers being like the artist thing would be like a great thing for doing live streaming and recording and stuff. But once you start wanting to route audio to multiple places on a Mac, the whole thing, it's like a house of cards and it just crumbles. All right. Let's go ahead and full screen. Make sure you guys get the audio. And then type a 2 in the chat for me if the audio from the DAW comes through. Okay, you're just going to hear like a little basic drum beat with maybe a bit too much reverb on it, but that's neither here nor there. All right, type a 2 in the chat if you can hear that drum coming through okay, and it's not all fuzzy and distorted. If it's all fuzzy and distorted, let me know. We'll do a different thing with the audio routing. Waiting on you to tell me if you can hear this drum beat okay. Also, there's a delay. It's low, but can you hear it? It's not like static. Great, and then tell me how's the balance of voice versus audio? Great, you guys can hear it? Sweet. All right, fantastic. All right, now, Next up, let's make sure you guys can see what's going on. So do you prefer this layout? Do you prefer, oh, no, that's the same size. This or this? Yeah. All right, so do you prefer this? Type of 1 if you want to see all like my plugin strip and everything here on the left, or type of 2 if you want to see like a little bit closer in on the DAW for what I'm going to be doing. Because once I lock in, I'm going to lock in. I'm not going to be looking at chat quite so much. Yeah, 2 but low. That's good. We'll make it quieter. I mean louder. All right, option 1, full screen. Option 2, zoomed in. Let me know in the chat what you want, and you will have it. I forget what 2 was. Was 2 zoomed in? I forgot what 2 was. All right, type a Z for zoomed in, and then just N for not zoomed in. Z for zoom, N for not zoomed in. All right, I also don't need this mix rack up right now. All right. You prefer zoomed in? All right, cool. All right, we're gonna do zoomed in. Boom. All right, my homies. Let's get cooking. I'm going to minimize this. And do it. All right. All right, so first of all, that sounds a little too sweet. I want to make it sound a little harsher, and we may do that with EQ. Oh, this is I've not used this before. This is gonna be my first time using strings too. Cool. Yeah, we'll yeah. How do I turn the reverb off? Jeez! Alright, you know what? Might take a minute to load, but I'm just gonna go grab. Oh, you know what? It's probably gonna be the good move. I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna find me an action strings thing. You're not action strings. How about you? Are you action strings? Sure. Oh, we gotta unselect that. There we go. There we go. We'll do some detuning too. Yeah, let's do that. Hello? Oh, this entire session's a little kooky. That's okay. Make a template, they said. It'll save you time, they said. Yeah, it's not even showing up as a... That's an odd one. All right. Well, let's do motif first, and then we'll come back to it. Motif, and then I'm going to layer in some of those action strings underneath it. Delete all these that did not load correctly. Bah! Oh, no, not what I meant. There we go. All right. Four hours later. We might need to change the articulation to something. That doesn't sound good. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Oh, tempo also needs to be 80. 90. There we go. And no click, please. Well. Dum, da, dee, da, do. I actually want like a pickup here. There it is. Na, 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 na. Oh, try that. Is that what I just played? Ooh. Ah, that's interesting. Maybe that'll be a variation. I think first time around for both of these, it was more fastball down the middle. So let me check in on the chat. Things have not. Everything's going good. You guys can hear it okay? Type a 2 in the chat if you can hear it okay. And you can see what I'm doing okay as well. Right. I'm going to assume that that's okay because no one said otherwise. Here we go. And what happens if we... Oh, what if it's just that? What happens if that repeats? Ah, then we need to actually split it here. Does that repeat? There we go. All right, cool. That'll be our main motif. Now, let's go back and listen to our Walking Dead, and we're going to map that out so we can build it up the same way. Oh, maybe we can go faster. All right, we'll call that another idea. Now let's go way faster this time. Let's do 16 notes. And let's also change the articulation to be tremolo. Let's see what happens if we do that. Yeah. Da ba da ba da 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 ba da da da. Da ba da ba da da. And we'll fix this. We'll figure this out. So can we make the attack faster? Attack as fast as it'll go. Bow noise, more bow noise. All right, cool. Back to our reference. All right, now what we need is more variation in the motif here. Right in the right direction with this. Yoboda bon, yoboda bon. Yeah, yoboda bon, yoboda don, yoboda di dubba dubba dubby dubba dubba dubby dubba dubba dubby dubba dubba dubba. All right, and do odd groupings. Dubba da, dubba da. Now let's do it up and down here. Oh. Okay, let's test that out. Yep. All right, we're going to keep that. That's going to be our motif. Now let's listen how many times it goes through before we bring more things in. We'll start mapping that out. Crescendo. All right, then the basses come in. Okay, so I'm also going to create a map as we go so I can keep track of where we are. So here we have intro plus crescendo. And that's going to be for 4 measures. And then here we're going to have low strings plus percussion plus scratch. It's going to come in. All right, and then it's going to do 3 times through the motif, and then it's going to modulate. And there's also going to be a rise here. And then we're going to modulate. How long do we modulate is the question. All right. So that is then modulate 1. It'll be 2 times through. We're going to have modulate 2. Modulate 1. Modulate 2. And then we're back to here and it's like a drop. And we're back home. And that's about it. And then it loops. Cool. 2, 3, 4. And this is going to be our end plus loop. Because this is going to be for a main menu, so it needs to be able to loop. And the dev didn't say that, but I'm going to say that. All right, this is actually going to be a lot more manageable than what I thought it was going to be. We're likely not going to get it all done today. I've got a call in an hour. But we're going to crush on this. We'll come back and do some more tomorrow. And basically, the motif carries through the whole thing up until the end, where we have that loop point. All right, so... All right, G, we're going to go down a major third. Minor third. And then we're going to go down again. So from E, we're down to C sharp, so we should have C as our first note. All right, we've got that mapped out. Let's now get the articulation dialed in here. With the velocity and everything. Yeah. Get a little bit more here and here. Not too much. And bring that over here. Which I really could have done before I moved it, because now I'm just going to have to remove these, but that's fine. Wasn't thinking and paying the price for not thinking. That is a price that one does pay sometimes. Okay. Down to E. Down to C. And then we are back home. And maybe bring this up an octave. I don't know, the string sounds better. This instrument just sounds better lower down. All right, great. So we want to program in a crescendo here, which is what we will do. Now, it would be really easy for me to program this in with the gain, but it's not going to change the velocity. It's not going to change the sound, so I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to program this change in with the velocity to get me the desired thing. So I'm just going to, like, very slowly start bringing this whole situation up. And we may need to do more than what I just did, and if so, that's okay. All right, it needs to be more dramatic. Okay. 2. I'm gonna bring this next phrase up by, well, phrase. By more. A little bit more. A little louder. Yeah! All right. We got ourselves a crescendo. Thanks, Mikael Mansbridge. Hope you're doing well. All right, we're gonna keep cooking. All right, let's go back and listen to our source here. All right, so there's low strings that are like accenting. What's going on? Also, we're going to dial in some more, dial in some reverb. Okay. Let's just try a couple ideas. Oh, wrong track. That's okay. What if we hit this again here instead of leaving it? Also, what if we take all of this and... Yeah, dude. All right, that's becoming something. All right, cool. Up next. And then there's some harmonies in there too. Seems to me too like we can kind of go a little harder here, especially with the octave down business. Okay, well, I'll just switch something. All right. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm not gonna do these swells with these guys. And in fact, we're gonna do that on a separate track here. Motif, low double. And then there were some harmonies coming in. Were the harmonies? Yeah, all right, so when it goes down, we also going to have some motif harmonies. So motif harmony. Well, what happens if we do that? Yeah, okay. Boom. Okay. I'm also going to push the volume a little bit just so y'all can hear it a little bit better. Set a timer for 43 minutes. All right, so again here, there's too much of the swell going on. So I'm just going to normalize this here. Now, here's the question. It's like, okay, what are we going to do to get a little bit more of a scritchety scratchety thing going on? I'm going to test a little bit of... I'm going to test an exciter here. I just want to see what happens. What happens if we put some distortion on you as well? I wonder. Right here, this needs to be louder. All right, cool. Now let's start building out our first section here with other stuff. Oh no. This is where it starts here. All right, so we're going to Gong. Give me some action strikes. Do hits. Oh, I like that. Yeah, let's do that there. Nice. All right, what else happens here? All right, creepy strings. All right, let's find us some creepy things. Let's also test what we have so far. Make sure I'm happy with this. I don't want to add anything. All right. Creepy string things. Let's see if I have any creepy string things. Extended techniques. Yeah, but you know, creepy string things. String things. Call a spade a spade. If it's a creepy string thing, I'll be over here calling it a creepy string thing. It also rhymes. And who doesn't want to rhyme? All right, so horror. Okay, got a couple horror things. All right, different settings maybe? No? Let's not have the percussion going at the same time. That's confusing. Okay, let's try it. All right, that's a start. All right, but I want to... Here's what I want to do. And then we'll see if we can find some other horror things. Okay. Find me more horror things. Let's see what other things I might have. All right, so it's horror synth. I don't think I have like a dedicated extended techniques string pack, which might be nice to have, but here we are. Horror choir, horrorscape. Oh, that's good for... Let's go back, listen to our reference real quick. Yeah. Yeah, let's get some. Something like that. Yeah? Okay. Our atmosphere. And like literally whatever else I have that's horror, I'm likely to use it because this is it's working. We're getting something. Oh yeah. Please. We may be overdoing it at this point. Who knows? Or out of tune. What? Oh, I can't hear it. Turn it up, please. Yeah, it's working. What if I can do a slower attack on this here instrument? No, it doesn't look like it. That's okay. All right, we're gonna redo that. This time I'm gonna play with the pitch wheel. All right, we're gonna do a couple things. I'm gonna turn this down. I'm also going to automate a little bit of a fade in here. And we need to change that. All right, and then percussion. All right, so this last little bit here, and then I think we have. We'll do this. I'm gonna take these guys here with me, and we'll do just some percussion that we might actually be done. And I just don't have those string sounds to come in here and do that scritchety scratchety thing, and that's fine. I think this is translating as horror. Maybe we put it back to the other one. I just really like the low end of that. I wonder if we can just... Yeah, just take that. There we go. A little more. There you go, I'm just taking the metal sound out. All right, now we're gonna do some percussion things here. Actually finish this now. 6 hours to do this. I was not anticipating how quickly this could go. Yeah, those look like that. That might be it. And then to keep the same string sounds, I'm just going to program in a... Yeah, let's bring it in here. Dang, dude. We almost done. And we'll pause here. Yeah. And then let's see what it sounds like when it loops. Also, I want to adjust the attack on those. All right, let's hear that loop. We put a little dubba dubba right at the end. That'll lead into that. Also, yeah. And we're going to bring this over here. There you go. And then right here at the end. Yeah, we'll finish this tomorrow. I want another like hour on this because I think I want to add some things in here in the middle. Nice. That does loop it. Okay, now I want to test out putting... There's a plugin called Kinetic Toys, I think I have. I want to test that out in here and see what happens with it. Kinetic spelling. Did it. Now let's try kinetic metal. I just want to get some like more sounds. Yeah, something like this. Can we get this louder, please? Let's test that out at the drop. Okay, now I can hear you. I think we just want that starting sound, really. All right, let's do another instance of this. Let's get another sound. And what we'll do is we'll have tomorrow to mix. Type a 4 in the chat if you are enjoying this zombie piece. Well, no, better question. Type a 4 in the chat if you think this sounds like an actual, like, zombie thing. Type of 4 if this is actually sounding like zombie-esque to you. And if it's not, tell me why. Or just say no. If it's not sounding zombie-esque to you. Yeah, let's do some stuff like that. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. All right, so in We've got it. I think we've got it. All right, everyone's saying it's sounding zombie-esque. Unrelenting Opponents is one of a few. Awesome. Cameron, Miguel, Luke. Hey, Cameron. Lawway, Nanan. All right, let's get a quick mix on this and send it out for approval. Maybe watch the thing a little bit more in the middle here. Oops. Yeah, there it is. Alrighty, we done did it. And we're just gonna bounce it as an MP3. We did it, team. Boom. Well done. Did I just say well done to me? Yeah, I guess I did. Oh, man, I didn't even do anything with the output. Well, we'll handle that later. Let's make sure compositionally we're good with the dev, and then I'll come back in and actually, like, zhuzh this up and get it a proper mixing look, proper mastering look, and we'll take it from there. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this, the very first zombie theme that I've ever created for a video game. This was a ton of fun. And can't wait to see the result that this gets for my friend, and they get their game approved for funding. So we're super, super stoked for them. I will see you in tomorrow, where I'm going to come back, mix this, make any changes that come back from notes, and then we'll be done with this tomorrow. So I'll catch you tomorrow for part 2. Take care, and goodbye.